My Lords, I don't welcome this. I accept that it's necessary. I don't welcome it because I think it's a pathetic rise. And I really can't see how the government can feel justified in bringing such a pathetic rise when people are struggling through this pandemic. I mean, the last 12 months have exemplified a really harsh reality for low-paid workers. And we all know that the government's national living wage is no such thing. It's a complete misnomer. The government misappropriated that phrase from some people who'd done their homework, and now we're left with a national living wage, so-called, that is absolutely pathetic, and people do find it extremely difficult to live on. And I'd like to support everything the noble ladies Chakrabarti, Clark of Kilwinning and Blower have said. They laid it out very, very clearly that this is simply wrong. And Lady Chakrabarti as well said, for example, reducing the age limit for the living wage from 25 to 23 just shows how arbitrary it is. She calls it inexplicable. Now, I'm very much hoping that the Noble Lord Minister will explain it to us. What is the rationale for that? It does seem very, very strange. Because during this pandemic, many of us with higher paying jobs have been able to rapidly shift to remote working and actually not faced too many struggles. We've been able to wait out the virus at home. But underpaid key workers have had to keep going in and face the pandemic, exposing themselves and their families to the risks of the virus. And then there are those underpaid jobs that have been shut down during the pandemic, like hospitality and the arts. These people face huge uncertainty over the future, along with a 20% furlough cut taken out of their already low wages. The Low Pay Commission reports that the lower paid someone is, the more likely they were to be furloughed and lose pay as a result. Of people who were furloughed, people who were higher paid were more likely to have their employer top up their furlough to 100% of normal pay. It's just another example of the huge inequalities in the system exposed by this virus. And it's no longer the great leveller that our Prime Minister, I say our Prime Minister, I suppose he's our Prime Minister, once described it as. So, overworked and underpaid, every worker should be entitled to take home a real living wage. No matter what their age, that's enough to get by on and have a little bit left over to save for the future. And as the noble lady, Lady Blower said, people, low-paid people, when they're given more money, they do spend it because they actually do need more food and they need shoes for their children. They do spend the money, and so it's actually economically illiterate to pay people, underpay people in the way that the government is saying. And on the issue of enforcement, that was a quite interesting issue as well, because this government's so keen on enforcement for everything. So what are they doing about that? Could the Noble Lord the Minister tell me about enforcement? But of course, I've now got a suggestion for you, because I don't just want to be negative. I want to give you a good idea from the Green Party manifesto. You know, if you want to put a green on the Low Pay Commission, you'd find it really would pay benefits in all sorts of ways. Because what we shouldn't be doing is tinkering around the edges, which is what's happening at the moment. We need a fundamental shift in the way that our society and our economy approaches work. The government has missed an opportunity to trial a universal basic income scheme in response to the pandemic. It shouldn't matter whether someone's on furlough, unemployed, retired or in work. Everyone should have enough to meet their basic needs in the 21st century. And for this reason, I want to ask the Minister to commit to asking the Low Pay Commission to assess the case for a universal basic income. In the same way they deploy their expertise and resources to assess increases in the minimum wage, they should carefully consider how we could make a universal basic income work to transform our economy into one that's actually fair for everyone.